Hey Confucius, I was wondering if you could help me out. I need a little wisdom. I was hoping to start a new project.
Sir, the first source of wisdom, and the noblest, is reflection.
Reflection? Yeah, maybe I should sit down and think about this a little bit. First, you said first. What's the second?
The second and easiest is imitation.
Imitation? Yeah, that's nice. I guess I could look at some other projects and see what they're doing.
Don't forget about the third, which is experience. It happens to be the bitterest.
Hello and welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today we're doing Matic Mondays. Now, a lot of my audience and viewers and community have asked me to cover other blockchains instead of just Phantom Fridays, so I've decided to try Matic Mondays. I'll see how long I can keep this up, but I kind of think it might give me some motivation to look at some other new projects on Matic and find out some new things. Now, today I'm going to look at QiDao, and QiDao it's similar to other projects in some ways, but it has some new innovations that are definitely worth talking about and showing. Now, it's kind of similar to MakerDAO, but in its main core idea, but there is, like I said, a lot of big changes that make it very different than MakerDAO. So like MakerDAO, it has these vaults, right? And you would have to put some token in this vault as collateral in order to mint the My token. So some sort of collateral goes in here. In this case, it's a Matic vault. So you have a Matic vault here, and you want to mint some My tokens. Now, a My token is a US dollar pegged stablecoin. So it's always trying to maintain its peg to the US dollar. And Matic is the collateral used. So you have to over collateralize these vaults by 150%. So if you put $100 of Matic in there, you can borrow or mint at most $75 of My, but that would be risky. You would be very close to being liquidated. There are liquidations on this protocol, so take care, make sure you understand them. Now, the docs is very good, the community is very good, and I suggest you to check them out carefully. And, ask more questions, make sure you understand things better. So some of the things that set this apart is they have different vaults for different tokens. And when you want to say, let's say I wanted to open a Matic vault, I would open one and I get this vault here, and I get this NFT inside my wallet. You can actually even see it on OpenSea as a vault that you have opened up on there. So it kind of isolates your risk. This vault is only its own risk of liquidation. So if this goes into a bad debt scenario where you have not enough collateral to hold the 150%, then only this vault can be liquidated. Now, another cool thing about this is that they only liquidate 50%. So I'll come to the liquidations in the docs here, and you can read this carefully. But the idea is that when you do get liquidated, they only take half. So in the cases of a liquidation, you will only be reduced to half. So you'll always keep some of your collateral on hand, which is great, right? Now, of course, it can be liquidated again thereafter if the price continues to fall. So you keep that in mind. But they can only liquidate half of your position, which is nice for a user. Now, some of the tokens you can use as collateral are Matic. They have some, ERC20 Ethereum native tokens here that you could choose. And then they also have these Aave market tokens. And this is interesting. So for example, if you were to put Matic into Aave, then you would get back AM Matic, and it's a kind of a yield bearing token, but you have to claim the token. You have to claim your interest all the time. So what they did to solve this problem is they built a vault mechanism inside this vault that is going to collect your rewards and sell the rewards for more Matic tokens, or at least get your interest and compound that and so forth. So it's very good. I think this is a very good way for you to do this. Now, the problem here is that they don't have any stable coins. So if you look at this page here, go to yield, they have these stablecoin price feeds already. So they've set up some of the steps to get these as collateral. And that'll be great when you can use yield-bearing USDC or yield-bearing USDT to mint a stablecoin. So you just basically can compound the crap out of it, right? Now, they are in the process of as a community, as a DAO, in the Discord, they're talking about how to set these up, because they shouldn't follow the same perimeters of the other vaults like Matic and stuff, because these are they have capital gains and capital loss. They have a lot more risk. They need a lot more collateral. But so they're trying to discuss the collateralization and so forth. Now, another thing that sets this across is they advertise this as a like zero interest on your borrow. So if you borrow MAI, there's no interest on the MAI that you borrow. Now that's not completely true. It does have cost. You're going to have to pay more to get back your collateral, but they've taken away the time factor. So if you leave collateral, like let's say you borrow, let's say $100 worth of MAI, then you have to pay a small fee to get back all your collateral, so $100 and a certain amount. I will show you the fees when we go into the docs and we talk about that the revenue streams. But the idea is that your debt will not grow as time progresses, like most of these borrowing and minting and stuff. These are these platforms that do this kind of system. So as time progresses, you will always only owe the same amount of MAI that you originally had to owe based on your collateral. So it doesn't matter how long you hold your position open, basically. You don't have to worry about that. So let's move on to the next part. There's this part here where it says swap, but they call it mint MAI with USDC. This is a way that you can just basically swap this MAI token for USDC with a 1% fee. So why would you want to do this? Is because sometimes when there's a lot of people maybe buying MAI in the market to pay off their debt because of some liquidation event. Maybe there's like a black swan and the Matic token's dropping in price very quickly. Then a whole bunch of people are going to go buy MAI to pay off their debt to kind of stabilize their collateral position. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to always just borrow, to just mint some MAI with USDC, but you're going to pay this fee. So sometimes maybe the slippage on the pools out in the public are higher than this. So you can come here and do it. And then you can go back the other way as well. This also gives an opportunity for arbitrage between the actual minter, the main minter with the vaults, as well as the outside markets. Okay, let's move on to the next tab that's called yield here. And here we see a couple pools that you can farm the QiDao token, the Qi token, which is the governance token. And they're just two simple ones. Basically, obviously, the MAI and USDC on QuickSwap and the MAI versus the Qi on QuickSwap as well. And you can get these APRs and you can farm the Qi token basically. Now, what can you do with the Qi token? Well, you can put it into the boost here, into this boost. And basically, it's pretty good. Like you're going to get fees based on like people repaying and stuff like that. You can read through because they've changed the fees quite often, but it pretty much explains it here. So you can go through and you say, oh, there's like bonuses and stuff like that. So the longer you lock your Qi tokens, the better the bonus will be, the better the boost of your fees. You'll get a larger portion of these fees basically, and so forth. Now, let's go into this revenue stream, because this is where we talk about the fees of the protocol. So there are fees inside this protocol, and this is how the protocol makes the money, right? Because they have to make some money. They have to pay the Qi people, and they have to pay the developers and stuff like that. They have to give some value to the people who are controlling this, maintaining it, and so forth. So the first one is repayment fees. And so every time you repay, you have to pay a 0.5% on your debt. So that's pretty obvious. Like I said, it's not free money. You have to pay this all the time, but at least they've taken away that time factor. Like I mentioned, the longer you wait to pay, then it doesn't make a difference. So it actually encourages people to not come in and out of the same position, right? The next one, they have deposit fees. Now the deposit fee is only on these farms right here. So when you deposit in here, they're going to take a small fee, and it's going to be in the form of an LP basically, right? So they talk about the fees here. You can read this and get a very good understanding, but basically it's the same thing, right? 0.5%. And the anchor fees, so the 1% for the swapping that I told you about, from swapping from MAI to USDC or USDC back to MAI, they charge a 1% fee to do this. So sometimes it's better to just use the market, but it depends on the amount of money you're doing and the slippage and stuff like that. like it says here, there's no interest rate, so there's no time-based debt increasement, which is very interesting and I think is very solid. So I think this pretty much covers the protocol in a very quick glance. If you have more questions, I suggest you to come into the docs. I've read the whole thing, but I can't spend time on every little detail, and you can read it and understand quite well. You can go check out their Discord. Their Discord's pretty helpful. The community's pretty responsive and helpful and so forth. So thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.